Hi guys, this is Monica. I'm back. I am doing another person who is prominent in our Black history. The next person I am going to do is his name is William Steele. He was an African American abolitionist. He was based in Philadelphia. He was a conductor on the Underground Railroad. He was a businessman, a writer, a historian, and a civil rights activist. He was known as the father of the Underground Railroad. He kind of made up the Underground Railroad. Um, Not only did he fight to end slavery, but he fought for civil rights for African American people. He did write a book that was called The Underground Railroad. He was a son. First he was born on October the 7th, 1821. Um, and he was the son of people who had been enslaved laborers on a potato corn farm in on the eastern shore of Maryland. He received very little formal education, but he did learn to read and write. He taught himself by doing extensive readings. At the age of 23, he relocated to Philadelphia, where he worked janitor and then a clerk for the Pennsylvania Anti-Slavery Society, and then he became an active member. Um, by 1850, he served as a chairman of the committee established to help runaway slaves. He had four children with his wife, Letitia George, between 1844 and 1865. Still helped at least 60 enslaved African Americans escape bondage. He interviewed a lot of those slaves that were seeking freedom, men, women, and families, documenting where they came from, the difficulties they met, and help they found along the way to their final destination, which is freedom. In one of his interviews, he realized that he was questioning his own older brother, who had been sold to another slaveholder. When their mother escaped, see their mother, she was sold into slavery twice. So sometimes you can get beat in freedom. So she ran away twice, and finally she changed her name. And so, and then she had four. He had four older brothers, and they went to slavery with her. And then two of them got separated from her and was sold off um, to owners in Mississippi. During his time with the Anti-Slavery Society, he put together records of more than like 1,000 former enslaved people, keeping the information hidden because he was, if anybody knew that he would do anything like that, he could have went to jail and himself could have been hung. Um, Slavery was abolished in 1865. Um, he was elected chairman of the Vigilance Committee. By 1859, he began to fight to desegregate Philadelphia's public transportation system by publishing a letter a local newspaper to a local newspaper company there. Although Steele was supported by many in his endeavors, some members of the African American community was not interested in gaining civil rights. And because of that, Steele published a pamphlet entitled A Brief Narrative of the Struggle for the Rights of the Colored People of Philadelphia in the City Railway Cars. And he published that in 1867. After 8 years of trying to get the rights, Pennsylvania did pass the legislation ending segregation in the public transportation area. He was one of the organizers of the YMCA for American. African American youngsters and an active participant in the Freedom Aid Commission and founding member of the Bourbon Presbyterian Church. He helped establish a mission school in North Philadelphia in 1872. After the abolition of slavery, he published his book, The Underground Railroad. It included like 1,000 interviews and was like 8 pages long. It told stories of some heroic and harrowing things that the slaves went through while they was trying to go to freedom, like I was saying earlier. And they did illustrate how people suffered deeply and sacrificed much to escape slavery. During his career as an abolitionist and civil rights activist, Steele acquired considerable personal wealth. He began purchasing real estate through Philadelphia as a young man. Later, he ran a coal business and established a store selling new and used stoves. He also received proceeds from the sales of his book. Steele died in 1902 of heart trouble. In Steele's obituary, the New York Times wrote that he was one of the best educated members of his race who was known throughout the country as the father of the Underground Railroad. I hope you all, this was very informative to you guys. I hope you all can read a little bit more about William Steele. Look up his book if you want to read it. Look his book up and try to learn a little bit more about his book and some of the stories that they went through. You can do that. I hope that this does not offend anyone. This is something that I'm doing to do positivity because this February is Black History Month, and this is just a challenge that I'm doing to spread positivity. So, like this video, share this video, comment on it, and subscribe. And y'all have a good night.